So you guys want to be mind blown? I found a game that I had in my library, amongst many, in my backlog that I hadn't played. Orc Massage. What the fuck? Wait a minute. Orc Massage. No fucking way. No, we're not playing that. What we are playing today is the Stanley Parable. Oh shoot, it doesn't go on full HD.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Okay.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
Yep.
Something he would never quite forget.
Normal office work.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Hold on. For Stanley's sake, I try to understand why the resolution... Okay. It is in higher resolution. What the hell? Okay, so a little bit of an explanation here because some fun stuff happened. At this point of the playthrough, because your boy was too busy fiddling with the resolutions, adjusting sound, figuring out what windows or screen I should have my gameplay on, and also because I'm too stingy to buy a Steam Deck, I just so happened to have muted the gameplay, resulting in perhaps the goofiest moment that I've ever had on video. Don't tell me the truck is going to run me over. Oh my god. Parkour. Parkour, parkour. Why is this both joyful and creepy? Oh, hold on.
You know, I think he knows now.
Oh my f***ing god, I just realized.
Look at this dude.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Let's go back to the office. I'm gonna do something here. Fuck this. We're gonna start the game from the get-go.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
We're gonna
Stanley
pretend
worked
that
for
this
a
never
company
happened.
that employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Listen,
And Stanley was happy.
if the narrator can be petty, so can I.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I'm pretty sure I am literally going to lose it if the game remembers this. You guys certainly do. We played through this, I had no sound for the longest time, and I decided to switch back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a very diligent person and not let my curiosity get the best of me. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm going to listen to the voice this time. It is my first game. Okay, so let's make something very clear there. Hi, YouTube. So, the chat is trolling me right now because I did a dumb mistake. We played through this, and I was not... there was no sound to the game at all. And I was being constantly trolled because I totally ignored the mention of there being no sound. And I went through playing the game for like a whole 20 minutes. Almost. Just for me to not just make the wrong choices in the game, being trolled by the AI.
Doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything.
Damn
this is
your
why
voice.
Stanley and I are on such good terms.
I need to explain my mistakes here. And I, obviously, after realizing it, tried to wiggle my way out of it, but no, we had to do a Thanos. Meeting
Yet
room.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay, do not alter. I think that keeping things in motion and repeating is very important to this game. Okay, using slide to assure wait, everyone is unique. You must have all. Okay. Well, if you say so. Number of the slides. That's nice. I would like to do this as a presentation one day. Actually, having nothing. This is a pie chart. My boss's office, okay. Haha. See, it's
Coming to
you
a
already
staircase,
clipped it.
Stanley walked
Perfect.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Fucking perfect. Okay. Now we can wander off again. Let's see what's down there.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, Why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And
Good
for
question.
that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh my god!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
Okay.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
No.
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Dude.
I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Holy shit.
I am okay.
And then the TV
Stanley
diner.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
He had to be a little bit creepy, huh?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
The voice is extremely petty. No fucking way. No way. So follow every single instructions no matter what. Oh, Jesus.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, let's do it right for once and not wander off, okay? Despite it being the boring option.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Holy shit. Yo. The boss is, this is not normal. Executive bathroom. Yeah, I mean, look at this. What in the alternate universe?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Wait, hold on, what? Oh, there. Okay. Oh no. We're doing this again. This is the this is the button that ruined everything the first time. Freaking corpo life.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Then the game's only turns into
Stanley
dead
walked
space.
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Did he now? You know, Stanley could go the other way. Yeah. Stanley's going to escape. Alright?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay. 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 Oh no. What's gonna happen?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Yo, chat, should I go further? Okay, you'll like this part. Fine, let's go. Oh no, I don't like this.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh, it's just a hole. Oh, how great. Oh, I live.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Nice. Wait.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
What the
In a
hell?
single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What? Are we actually doing this? Guys, what's trapdoor to this theater?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Oh my god, that is awesome. This is so cool. Yo, forget Attack on Titan. This is the existential crisis that I was looking for. Office layout. A blueprint shows the office. No way! The two doors, and then the endless paths. Oh, that's dope! The button sound. Oh, that's funny. Credits for the game, huh? Well, you did a swell job, but it's not done. I hope not. Green light. More endings. Wait, what? More narrators, fewer narrators, more Stanley, less Stanley. Okay, it keeps expanding. Are you gay? Dear narrator, will Stanley Parable have infinite quests? How many endings? If Stanley Parables is really going to let go... whoa. Holy shit. The money initially belonged to Libyan client who died. Are those the emails that have been sent to them? That's... oh man, that's hilarious. Okay, what about this? Should I pick up the phone? Oh, no. Oh, apartment timer. Is there an apartment moment in this? I get to see all the props that I haven't even encountered yet. It's my office. Again. But it's different. Wow. Okay. So the big question is Stanley like a test subject for something? For mind control? The game is now part. Wow. Okay. Somebody was talking.
They're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing.
Where is he? I can hear the narrator's voice. Now I feel like I should have taken the mind control route just to see. Oh, there's an up button too. Oh, well, this is the exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
On and off. What the fuck?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not.
Well, I can't
Sometimes
see Jack
these
now.
things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
Well, she did save my life. Time to reset. She did save my life, so at least that's one character that I can trust. Okay, now it's going on an endless loop. Yeah. Okay.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Escape.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, now we're gonna follow it as he wants to.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I wonder if there's a possibility of keep on. What happens
Yet
if you
there
keep
was not a single person here either.
making the same mistakes
Feeling
again and
a wave
again?
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Take it out passive-aggressively on other co-workers. Resent co-workers for not supporting you. Yeah, that's good work culture for you. And by
Coming
good,
to
I
a
mean
staircase,
worse.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Well, I was given the chance to escape death. Everything, basically. Yeah, everything happened.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Yeah, right.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
There's an upward going button somewhere. I need to find that. Oh no. I'm sorry. That was a bit late. I should have tried entering the wrong code. Well, if I die, then we'll do it again.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay, what the hell? Oh, aren't those the numbers from the beginning? Yeah. Yeah, they are.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oh, it's like the architect from the Matrix. Now I remember what the feeling was that I had when I first saw this. And the voice is kind of similar, actually. As long as it doesn't make an incoherent monologue. What is this? Cameras?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427 is our number. Can I turn these off? No, I can't turn them off again. Perfect.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had
The
he
music.
truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
You bet that we have We each know somebody who rambles about conspiracy theories about the workplace like this. That's why you don't need to enter the system. They cast you into a matrix. They control your minds when you do a 9 to 5. Oh, Jarvis.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
And so shut down the game.
Blackness.
Oh.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Nothing ends in it.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Bullshit.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
The great outdoor. Okay, this is not outside. We saw something about an apartment building. This is yet another set.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
It's so cheesy.
And Stanley was happy.
And so Stanley touched grass. Hey, beat the game. No fucking way.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
You can't win. You can't win in this. Okay, let's search for 420.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Too bad. Would have been fun if they actually had a 420 joke there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Holy shit. Wait, what? 3 years?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, I'm gonna let myself get killed this time. Or should I try with the office? I don't know if I can go back. That's the issue. If I enter the boss's office, I'm pretty sure that the door will close behind me. Yeah. Yeah, it will. But anyways, let's try that.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past,
Yeah, I
it
know.
signed a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, no, this is what he was going to do instead. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Oh no, I want to push 4. Okay, fine.
2845.
This is revenge. Did you say 3845?
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Nice.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Alright, so we go this way. In the future, oh, the code 10 times. The newspaper, anyway. Oh, okay.
Although
Holy
this
shit.
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
How much did they plan with this? That's insane.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Enough.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Okay, hold on. There's a sequel to the Stanley Parable, isn't there? Or am I... Wait, the Stanley Parable. Oh, deluxe. Ah, I see. Wow. It's like they've been trolling the fan base. There will be a sequel someday. Have you found all the endings yet? Maybe? Oh, okay.
But
In
of course,
Unity.
Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. Nope, still on board with death.
I can't believe that he reacted to that. Okay, that's wild. If they could get past the loading screens, then that would be nice.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss.
Well, I need to finish this one first before I play a sequel.
So he resigned,
But I thought that there were like
accepted
multiple
this violent
versions.
end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Except he wasn't. He was saved by a gentle woman, whom I am going to disappoint a lot now, because I'm going to kill myself again.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Are you serious? More than twice the endings. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna have some fun with this then. Well, let's just say that outside of Baldur's Gate, this seemed to be the next best investment that I've made. And Alan Wake 2, of course. Yes, this was the outside. Freedom ending. What does it say? This was the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Oh. What the hell? Countdown desk. Freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it exists in the beta. Well, I mean, there's only one path outside.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
So what if I die?
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
And Stanley died. Right. That's all. It's actually ended. Okay, well, at least we know one thing that is factual. If you choose to escape, you actually die. If you do not abide by the system. It's done. There's nothing else that I can do. People die when they're killed.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We do the original bamboozling.
When Stanley came to a set of two open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. And
I don't
Stanley
care.
knew it perfectly well.
I don't
Perhaps
care.
he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I don't give a damn.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank
So
goodness Stanley
pristine.
had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
So pristine, so awesome. Well, it will force us to move forward.
Really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Well, it's the least that I can do.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
You do you. I want to see what happens. I will not act upon this. I want to see what happens. Come on. He does nothing. Yeah, it does. It's funny enough, like I mentioned freaking Death Stranding before. Because I do feel this. Like you need some patience with this. Else you'll be driven insane. Well, don't seem to do anything. Spite is a powerful weapon. Ah, come on. I thought there was something in there. Okay, I'm forced to move forward.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
So, what we did the other... Oh. Oh my. So we did go down this path for another distraction in the first time, but let's try this. What?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
What in the world? Oh!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
I wanted to see if it actually held me
All of
back.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh man, I love that the voices are even timed, at least the voiceover is even timed with your actions. I don't think that you can speed through this.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright. What does it say? Penalty is $1,000. Okay, penalty for jumping off of the cargo lift. Okay.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who? What the hell? Who is she? Completely dark room with no sign on top of it. No way around it. God damn it. Okay, fine.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, hi, Mark. Oh.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
Oh, God.
Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
That
They
actually
wanna
sent
commit
me a
their
scare.
life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
The way she just slides off the floor.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Press 5 on your keyboard. Well, see, look. I have a very specific keyboard that does not have a numpad. So no matter...
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Press 8.
Look at him there,
Oh,
pushing
okay.
buttons,
It works.
doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button, Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown.
Oh, no.
Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Well, you call it the parable.
He went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
This spiteful bastard. I hate you.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Okay, yeah, you're being facetious
But
there.
there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Okay, I'm being teleported right back into my office. That's fun.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay, well, I won't. You might not want to, given the scale needed. But I can. Oh, check the clock. Okay. Are you serious? That's insane. No shot that they programmed something like that in here. That's Hideo Kojima level of bullshit. Wait for the ice to melt from the glass. No way. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. Okay, guys, let's turn this into a 24-hour stream. This game is fucking insane. I can't do it. Oh, Jesus. Now I understand why there was such a fuss about this game. Can't remember when I bought it. I was just like searching through my list and I found it and I was like, okay, man, it's about time that I tried to play this thing that everybody was being crazy about some few years ago. And well, what do you know?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Okay. Gentlemen. The game treated me like somebody in low tier guard's chat. I think that I'm gonna pause it from here. This has been fun. Holy shit. I have never tried a game bamboozling me this much. See, I did try. I think... No, not last year, but the year before. A game by Annapurna Interactive called 8 Minutes. That game is fantastic. I recommend anybody who like this type of time loop to try it out. It was really good. But yeah, it basically deals with a guy who ends up actually killing himself because of that. A time loop that he cannot escape of his own making. But like you need to uncover the reasons for why a police officer, at least like a private detective, come into your house and beats the shit out of you and actually ends up killing you before the 8 minute passes. But now, man, there's so much to this game. Who is she? Can you actually escape the game alive? Because the freedom ending is bullshit. Okay, I need to figure this out. But not tonight. But thank you all for having gone through this crazy game with me. Ultra Deluxe Edition next? Oh, you bet. Yeah, you bet. I'm getting the better one. We're gonna try all the massive, insane endings out of this.